Go Jackets.
What is going on, everyone, and welcome to WreckTalk. And boy, are these recap videos a whole lot easier to do after a win, and especially after back-to-back wins, something we haven't done all year, something we haven't done since, I guess, the Duke Pitt series in Key's first two games. So, good to see. And by the way, in, let's see, 19 weeks, Key has now met Jeff Collins' career Georgia Tech win total. That brings him to 10 for Key all time. That's the most games that Jeff Collins won in, 3 1/4 seasons. So I definitely feel like the program's moving in the right direction. And look, I wasn't at all confident coming into this game because in the back of my head, I was just thinking of Boston College. And I think they're a similar type team. I think Boston College is a better team. And I'm not just saying that because we lost Boston College and beat Virginia. But similar in that not a lot of expectation, a team that we should be able to beat, or a team that definitely shouldn't run us off the field. We're all wondering, what was going to be stronger, the loss-win streak, or the Sea Dog and WreckTalk streaming strength? And we got our answer. 45-17, Buzz Talk and B-Dog came over, and evidently the more people we have watching these streams, it amplifies. It not only guarantees us a victory, but it amplifies the margin. So, doesn't have me too confident because I'll be at the Clemson game next week. We'll have to see how that works out. Look, this is a big win. People that aren't Tech fans are going to say, oh, what's the big deal? You beat Virginia. Y'all are acting like you won the Super Bowl beating Virginia. Here's the thing. You got to take things one step at a time, right? We haven't proven that we can win in back-to-back weeks. We haven't proven this year that we can maintain the success from one game to the next. That's why I didn't pick us to win. I said, until Georgia Tech shows me that we can do that, I'm not picking them to win, and I've never been so happy to be wrong. Look, Virginia's won 3 in a row. Like we have North Carolina's number, Virginia has had our number. This would have been 4 in a row, so thank God, we broke that streak. And we hadn't won in Charlottesville since 2013. So it's nice and a clear step in the right direction that we're able to go on the road, handle a team that we should be able to handle, and that's not at all throwing shade at Virginia. I like Virginia. Wahoo Brad, I think, shout out to him, good dude, Virginia fan, comments a lot, said that Sea Dog is a closeted Virginia fan. We both said, look, I don't have a problem with Virginia. They care about academics. We care about academics. I hate that we keep losing to them, but I don't really have a problem with Virginia. So let's dive into this game, a game that we handled business in. Started off a little shaky, though. I hate that Tony Muskett went down. Evidently, he was already nursing injury. I don't know if it was a high ankle or something. He only played a series, came out, went through the tunnel, came out without his pads on, and Anthony Calandria came in and really started running all over us. He was jacked up, young kid, running over some of our players. And shout out to the defense. We did all you can do as a defense when a quarterback just says, I'm going to put my shoulder down. You put him on his back and you have him counting the lights in the stadium. And we've now, it seems like, found that medium between getting the ball out and ensuring the tackle. We had some really nice form tackles, and this is what you're taught from like playing middle school ball. If the guy's coming across, get your head across, put your hat on the ball, and wrap up, And that's exactly what happened on that first fumble with Calandria. Georgia Tech is +3 in the turnover margin in this game. We had no turnovers. I mean, we really played a near mistake-free game. Virginia had 3 turnovers, I think a fumble and 2 interceptions. Let's look at some stats, though. Georgia Tech has another monster day. Offensively, 514 yards. and really a monster day on the ground. 305 yards rushing. That's now 2 weeks in a row. In 2 weeks, we've had, 640 some odd yards of rush offense. We didn't have 600 plus yards offense in 2 games, like total offense last year, let alone just running the ball. Shout out to Dante Smith. He had 15 rushes for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's running hard all of a sudden. Earlier in the season, it seemed like he was kind of struggling to push through contact. Not the case now, man. I love to see Dante Smith balling out. 305 yards on the ground, like I said, 209 yards through the air. And I think now we're seeing how this Georgia Tech offense runs the best, right? It's when it's really predicated off the read option game of Haynes King and whatever running back that we have in. Once we've established the run, we're able to, we're almost guaranteed single coverage on the outside because they're going to flood the box. That's what happened. That's when we hit Eric Singleton Jr. for that big touchdown down the seam. Haynes King just threw a dime. And shout out to Haynes King. All the hate we've heard, and we even got it last night on the live show. Coming into the season, everyone said, look, Haynes King was garbage at Texas A&M. There's a reason that he transferred out of there. There's a reason that he lost his job. And to that, C-Dog and I said, Chris Winkie. That's the response. Chris Winkie, I think now, is easily top 5 quarterback coach in the country. You look at what he did with now Jeff Sims, Zach Gibson, Zach Pyron, and now Haynes King. There's a pattern here. 2 points make a line. Now we have 5 data points. Chris Winkie knows what he's doing. So 209 yards to the air, 1 touchdown. One thing I don't like, we had 8 penalties for 85 yards. We got to straighten that up, and that's, I think, where we're still trying to find this balance of being aggressive on defense. Most of those penalties came on the defensive side of the ball. So being aggressive on defense, getting pressure on the quarterback, getting some sacks, playing good coverage, and then avoiding the penalties with it. Shout out to the defense. We hold Virginia to 351 yards. They had only 119 yards on the ground, and I think that's shocking. They had run the ball pretty well in the past 2 weeks where they nearly beat Miami. They did go to Chapel Hill and beat North Carolina. Hold them to just 119 yards. Now, Washington, that really good wide receiver for them, still had 109 yards. He's a really good player. Look, a guy like that you're not going to hold to no receptions. They do have 232 yards through the air, but it comes with 2 interceptions. Shout out to Jalen King and Miles Sims. Miles Sims goes up third play of the game or something. Just a 50-50 ball. Other guy ends up catching it. It makes me think of Josh Nesbitt when he fumbled and then ripped it back out of the Florida State player. He just outstrengthed the guy and just ripped the ball out. So shout out to him. A really good play. Defensively, I'm now convinced that I can look at defensive stats now and nearly tell you with certainty who's going to win the game. Our leading tackler was not a defensive back this time. It was Efford. He had 10 total tackles. Then it was like 3 or 4 defensive backs. But still, this kid is the future of the linebacker corps for us. I'm glad he's young. He makes a lot of mistakes for a young guy, but he's learning, and he's clearly improving every week and could be the best linebacker we have, honestly, or he's playing like it. Also, we did a really good job at getting pressure up front. Kyle Kennard was a force all game. We bailed him out. One pick got erased because, we're grabbing the face mask. So we got to rein that in. Daquan Dowse had a sack too. So we had 2 sacks, one with Kennard, one with Dowse. But there was a good many pressures that we also had. Also 6 tackles for loss. It's not great, but it's much better than we normally do. When I look in the defensive stats and I see like 1 or 2 tackles for loss, I can almost guarantee you we lose every one of those games. It's just tough to score enough points when you're not getting in the opposing offense's backfield. Going back to the offensive side of the ball, Haynes King was 23 of 30 for 208 yards and a touchdown. And more importantly with that, though, 7 rushes for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has been on an absolute tear on the ground. And that, to me, has been the biggest difference. This is something Tantor had said. Sea-Dog and I had both been kind of critical. He had 3 games where he just didn't play well, but he wasn't getting a lot of help. And I think I need to be fair to him when we're not able to establish the run game and everything is on his arms to make a big play. Not a lot of quarterbacks are going to be super successful in that situation. And that's why I love to see Jamal Haynes had 119 yards and a touchdown, and Smith 15 rushes for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. That takes a lot of weight off Haynes King's shoulder. And in the 2 weeks where we've run the ball as well as we've run the ball since Paul Johnson was here, we see the play of Haynes King elevated. And that's really, to me, kind of my thoughts on offense, defense, special teams in general. In the past 2 weeks offensively, we've scored 91 points, and we've had just shy of 1,150 yards of total offense. 600 plus of that just on the ground. So what's going on there? Like, how are we able to kind of really turn the page on some offensive woes? Obviously running the ball. And look, you can break down the pass and the run game in a few different categories. You kind of have like the quick pass, medium pass, long pass, play action pass. And then you have some RP. Obviously, it starts kind of with RPO, but that's bridging run and pass game. In the run game, you kind of have run up the middle, off tackle stuff, counter stuff, pulling guards, sweeps. And if you are just not able to, if a defense is able to take like 2 or 3 of those things away from you, or tragically, if they're able to take 1/2 of that away from you, period, you're not going to be successful offensively. And what teams have really been able to do with us is for most of the game, take the run game away from us. And, what do you do as a play caller? Keys talked about this. What do you do as a play caller when half or more of your playbook is unavailable to you? Like, hey, we've ran it. The past 5 times we've run it, it's been no gain or a yard gain. They know we're probably going to throw it. I've got to call a pass, right? So that, to me, has been the difference with the offense. We've been able to establish the run game and really convincingly establish the run game, and it's given us a lot higher percentage throws for Haynes King and a lot more breathing room for Haynes King. Defensively, I think we've been able to pick our spots with blitzing. We talked about this. But the big difference to me is we've been able to get pressure up front, and we've covered a lot better in the defensive backfield. That's really, to me, been the difference defensively for us. And look, a lot of people are not going to acknowledge it, and I hate that Tony Muskett went out. The result is probably, or maybe not the final result. The final score is definitely different if Tony Muskett's in the game. But defensively, we're able to step up. Now, we'll be playing a more talented offense next week, but probably equally as flawed. Before I kind of talk about that a little bit, special teams. We had a mistake-free or virtually mistake-free special teams. We got a good return with Dominique Blaylock in the punt game. For the most part, we're able to kick off the ball in the end zone. We're able to hit a 43 or something yard field goal. It just feels like, doesn't it just feel like we're starting, and I don't want to speak too soon, we're kind of starting to put to rest and brick by brick build this thing to what we know it can be. Kind of put to rest some of these special team snafus, develop the offense, incrementally develop the defense to whatever it can be this year, and then address personnel issues in the offseason. With all that said, convincing win, 45-17. Couldn't be happier. I said there was one result before we played this game that would surprise me, and that's a Tech blowout. And that's what's happened. So shout out to this team, man. They're playing hard. If we can beat Clemson next week, we're bowl eligible. Like I said, Clemson, a far more talented team than Virginia, and really a far more talented team than Tech on paper. But you don't play these games on paper or in computer simulations. You play them on the football field. It's a home game. I'll do a whole video dedicated to it. But a very flawed team. A team that is extraordinarily turnover prone. They did get a big win against Notre Dame last week. However, they still turned the ball over twice. It's just that Sam Hartman had a horrible game. Or I shouldn't even say that. Give credit to Clemson's defense. They were able to come up with more turnovers than their offense gave up. So, like I said, I'll be at the game. I'll be driving down early that morning. It should be a ton of fun. Hope that doesn't mess things up. I know our live stream streak is pretty strong. Check out tonight. We'll be doing a live stream tonight at 8:30. We'll be talking football, Tech football, some other things. And I've got to get some members-only videos out. I got to react to some interviews. By the way, I just got my my office, or my studio, I guess you could call it, set back up nice. I might do a video where I kind of walk through how everything is and what equipment I use and whatnot. If you're interested in that, if you would like to become a member, there's a link, join button right before the title of the video, and there's a link in the description of the video if you'd like to donate. There's a PayPal, CashApp link in the description. We appreciate all that. Every bit of money I've ever been donated has gone right back into the channel. So I appreciate all your support. Go Jackets. And if no one's told you today, you know what it is. WreckTalk loves you. Y'all have a good one.